Sorry, doctors. We will start. When all the participants join this meeting. Sorry, doctors, for the delay. We are now waiting for the participants to join the other group. So it will take some time, 1 or 2 minutes. Can I, doctor? Sorry, doctor.
Sure, no problem.
So to all the participants, you may switch on your camera now. If you guys have internet problem, so no need to open the camera. Sorry, doctor. Can I check for the attendance for groups Mars? Shazmina Adriana here?
You're here.
Iqbal Hakimi?
I'm here.
Iqbal Hakimi?
He's trying to connect, but he's here.
Oh, I see.
If only he have problem with his computer, then he will be joining one of our
all
platform.
right. Okay. Ain Sabrina?
I'm here.
All right. So for Saturn group is Hanif Taqiyuddin. I think they are not here yet. The second group, Hanif Taqiyuddin, Hana Khalila, and Ahmad Daniel. I think they are not here yet. Is Hanif Taqiyuddin here?
Yes. Sorry.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Yes. All right.
Sorry. Can you give us like a few minutes because currently we're having some internet issues. So
Yes.
sorry.
No worries. I'll start my text first, so it may take some time for you guys to prepare. Okay, I'll start. All right. Okay, so actually, you guys take some time first. All right. All right, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to the honorable lecturers, educators, debaters from the government and opposition side, and not to forget the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6th Annual Interbatch Debate Championship organized by the Diplomatic Exco of Medical Student Association, MESTA. On behalf of the organizing committee, we are pleased to welcome you. Before we start our debate championship today, please kindly mute your speaker throughout the debate unless you are giving your speech or point of information, POI. Only the moderator and participating teams are allowed to turn on their camera throughout the debate. The juries are welcome to turn on their cameras after the debate has finished to comment on the debate by the participating teams. Welcome to second preliminary round of Interbatch Debate Championship. I am Putri Amir Mazidah Fitur Mama Arifis To'anik, the chairperson for today, and Aina Nusahabiti Ramli, the timekeeper for today. We are very delighted to announce our motion for today, which is this House believes that the dress code for medical students should be relaxed. I would like to introduce the debaters for today. On my right side, taking the role as the government team is the team from Year 2, Mars, with Ms. Shazwina Adrina binti Muhammad Himshamullah as the first speaker, Mr. Muhammad Iqbal Hakimi bin Luqman as the second speaker, Ms. Nur Ain Sabrina bin Abdul Nasir as the third speaker. On my left side, taking the role as the opposition team is the year from Year 2 also, from Saturn, with Mr. Muhammad Hanif Takirin as the first speaker, Ms. Nurhana Khalila as the second speaker, and Mr. Muhammad Akmar Daniel as the third speaker. There are three educators who will adjudicate this competition, which are, the first jury is Dr. Nur Alima, the second jury is Dr. Associated Professor Dr. Damayanti, and the third jury is Associated Professor Dr. Jamal Hussaini. Now, I would like to state the rules and regulations for today's debate. The time allocated for the first speaker of the government team is 7 minutes. The timekeeper will ring the bell once. At the first minute, which signals the point of information. Aina, can you please mute first? Okay. The points of information are allowed to be given from the opposing team. The bell will be ringing again at the 6 minutes to signal the end of chances for PI to be given. The timekeeper will ring the bell twice at the end of the 7th minute, indicating that the time is up for the speaker and the speaker should do his or her closing speech immediately. Any POI given before the first or after the 6th minute should be ignored. Please do keep in mind that an extra 1 minute is given for the speaker if the speaker has a poor internet connection during the speech, which is the timekeeper will take into account the extra time. For the rest of speakers, the time allocated for them to deliver their speech is 6 minutes. The bell will be ringing once. At the 1st and 5th minute to signal the duration for POI can only be delivered. Any POI given before the 1st or after the 5th minute should be ignored. The timekeeper will ring the bell twice. At the end of the 6th minute to indicate the end of the time for the speakers to deliver their speech, and they should do the closing speech immediately. The speaker will be penalized if the time taken exceeds the allocated time. Again, an extra 1 minute is given for the speaker if the speaker has a poor internet connection during the speech, which the timekeeper will take into account the extra time. Next, I will briefly declare the roles of the debaters. The first speaker of the government and opposition team need to define the motion and state their stand as well as introducing an idea or more to support or against the motions. The first speaker from the oppositions also needs to rebut the idea given by the first speaker of the government team. The second speaker from the government and opposition team need to convey 2 or more ideas to support or oppose to this motion. In addition, the second speaker of the government team need to rebut the idea given by the first speaker of the opposition, while the second speaker of the opposition team needs to rebut the ideas given by the second speaker of the government team. The third speaker need to introduce new ideas and need to rebut all the ideas given by the first, second, and third speaker of the other team. For the reply speech, the time allocated is to prepare is 2 minutes, whereas to present the reply speech is 3 minutes. The first and second speaker of the opposition team should present his or her reply speech first, followed by the first or second speaker from the government team. The speakers cannot introduce new ideas and will need to summarize their arguments and reaffirm their stand regarding to this motion. The third speakers are not allowed to present the reply speech. The timekeeper will ring the bell once. At the second minute. Aina.
Sorry.
Mute sekejap. Okay, at the second minute as a last minute warning. Sorry everyone. Last warning, and we'll ring the bell twice to signal the end of the debate. Are the participants clear of the rules and regulations? I guess yes. So as the rules and regulations are fully understood, I would like to call upon the first speaker of the government team, Mrs. Shazwina Adrina binti Muhammad Hishamullah, to deliver her speech.
Am I audible and visible?
Yes.
Yes, I am. All right. Thank you. All right. Wait a minute. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Madam Speaker. A very good evening I would like to wish to the honorable educators, precise timekeepers, fellow members of the government, members of the opposition, and members of the floor. We are here gathered today to debate on a very important motion that this House believes that the dress code for medical students should be relaxed. To address this motion, please allow me to start off by specifying my role and the role of my fellow members of the government. I, Shazwina Adrina, as the Prime Minister, have the main task in hand in which I have to state the motion which I have already done earlier. Next, I will define and give parameters for our motion today. Following this, I will present the first point of government in order to support our stand. The role of my deputy, Iqbal Hakimi, here is to rebut the points given by the opposition leader, and he will go on to present two points to further support the government's stand. Finally, the third speaker of the government has the task as the whip of the government to rebut all the points given and put forward by the opposition. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to define our motion for tonight. The current status quo of medical student dress code is very and quite rigid according to universities, but the main dress code that we know as for male students are tucked in button up complete with a tie, while for female students, they are allowed to wear baju kurung and formal attire. What we're trying to highlight today is having relaxed dress code for it to be more practical and more comfortable. Into this debate, we will only focus on dress code which applied under the university administration and not under the clinical setting, for example, during lectures. Why is it? As in clinical settings, you as a medical student is obligated to wear according to the hospital requirement to ensure public safety. As for now, if we as a medical student to meet this dress code on a daily basis. For example, wearing leather shoes should not be made compulsory, and we here believe that it is better to allow medical student to wear sports shoes sometimes. As we all know, medical students have a very packed schedule, and it is more comfortable to wear sports shoes compared to leather shoes, and everyone knows that. Other than that, we are giving additional options for the students to wear clothes that are pleasant and appropriate. Everyone is expected to be well-groomed and wear clean clothing free of holes, tears, or other signs of wear. Now, let me come to my first argument, which is medical students' dress code must be relaxed as it and ease of function. According to studies, 61% of medical students are more productive when the dress code is relaxed, and 80% of people who study in an environment with a dress code responded that they don't find them useful. Those are pretty staggering statistics. This is absolutely true. As with the relaxed dress code, you are less likely to spend more time on choosing and preparing your attire. For example, the facts that we know is time-consuming to iron a single whole formal attire. Moreover, one of the reasons is the financial burden that comes from a suit and tie environment. You're expected to invest. Yes, sir. You may go.
Thank you. So as mentioned by the first speaker from the government, you give the statistic involving student preference student comfortable based on the relaxed attire. But those research is not involving medical student. So how can it be related into this debate? Because we are discussing about medical students.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's just a general statistics, and this will further be. Thank you for the question, by the way. And this will be further elaborate in the arguments in the uh, of my second speakers. All right, I'll continue. All right, so what is you are expected to invest in nice suits, shoes, ties, and dresses. Not everyone can afford to spend thousands of ringgit Malaysia on their attire. Simple example, just like I mentioned just now about shoes. Maintenance of sport shoes is much more easier and cost effective rather than wearing leather shoes that more likely to worn out in a short amount of time. All right, so in conclusion, in order to achieve optimum productivity among medical students, having relaxed dress code is a step to take. With that, I rest my case.
Right. Thank you, the first speaker of the government team. Now I would like to call upon the first speaker of the opposition team to deliver his speech.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good evening. I bid to the speaker, honorable judges, trustworthy timekeeper, and not to forget, ladies and gentlemen, members of the floor. Michelle Obama once said, your success will be determined by your own confidence and fortitude. The topic for our debate today is this House believes that the dress code for medical students should be relaxed. And we from the opposition strongly disagree, and we are suggesting to maintain formal wear for medical students as already been practiced in Malaysia, in fact worldwide, ladies and gentlemen. Due to multiple factors that will be discussed by the opposition, that will be enlightened by the House on why dress code for medical students should maintain as formal wear, and we from opposition strongly disagree with this proposal. So ladies and gentlemen, stay with us from the opposition side. But before we go further, I would like to introduce the opposition side. Tonight, as a first speaker of the opposition, I will be talking to you about value of professionalism and confidence in working. Next, the opposition will be followed by our second speaker that will be discussing another two concrete reasons, which is a preparation period for work life and unity in medical student. Lastly, from the opposition, we have our third speaker that will rebut and sum up the case on why the government should disagree on the proposal and be with the opposition for a brighter future for the sake of medical student in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, as stated by the first speaker of the government, she stated that formal attire is not worth it by the price and easily worn out. But do you know that at the end of the day, we working as a medical doctors, we are going to wear formal attires? Are you suggesting that this is not cost effective? So this is the way we see it from the opposition side. This is a preparation period for the student to enter the working field. So I believe that the government is not within the discussion. So members of the floor. So now I will proceed with my first point that will enlighten the House on why the dress code for medical students should maintain as formal wear. First is because, value of professionalism and practicing confidence. The main question here is, why do I say this? Based on a research made by Res Medica by Journal of Royal Medical Society in 2018, the research in United Kingdom is to know that the perception of patients to a clinical student and preclinical student regarding their attire during their ward rounds and their lectures. Apparently, 87% of the patient and lecturers agreed that they prefer to have medical students wearing formal attire and white coats for the sole reason of highest professionalism, confidence, trust, and cleanliness. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, based on the statistic, it's clear that by wearing formal attire, it really gives comfort and trust from patient and lecturers to medical students due to the value of professionalism depicted by medical students themselves. Members of the floor, I believe the government must be questioning where the value of professionalism come from. The patient, be patient and listen to my speech, because I believe by the end of our discussion, the government side will be with us from the opposition to strongly disagree with our motion tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, professionalism is being defined by the skill, good judgment, and polite behavior that is being expected from a person who is trained to do a good good job well. And there are several factors that affect the value of professionalism, such as personality, organizational culture, professional performance, and lastly is professional presentation. As I stated before, one of the factors that affects professionalism is professional presentation that involve attire in working. That is the reason we from opposition really take this issue seriously, and it's very important to implement where formal attire as being spotted by the statistic I explained before. Now, why is professionalism is so important? The primary rationale for professionalism and collaboration is to promote patient safety. Healthcare is delivered by teams of professionals. We need communicate well, respecting and principles of honesty, respect for others, confidentiality, and responsibility for their action. Further, in working environment, in healthcare comprises multiple learners among them fellow physician, residents, and non-physician, including student and patient. Additional to the value of professionalism, by implementing formal wear, we can see that medical student will appear more confident, and the impact of confidence not only affect the medical student, but also confidence of the patient towards the medical student, as in clinical settings and lecturers to preclinical student. Therefore, it is very important for medical students to present the value of professionalism and confidence, as it is very important in the healthcare system. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we from the opposition are trying our best by suggesting to maintain formal implementation for medical students to maintain the values, and I believe all of us know the values are very important, not only as medical student, but also as human. Therefore, I have a question to the government. Are you trying to be insensitive and ignorant by supporting this kind of motion? Members of the floor, by the end of my speech tonight, I would like to recap my solid point tonight, which is value of professionalism and practicing confidence. The reason is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. As by disagree the motion tonight and implementing the formal wear suggests we should, from the opposition side, we can clearly see the expression for the value of professionalism and practicing confidence within a medical student, and this is very important for medical student as the preparation work life that will be explained more in my second speaker speech. Before I end my speech, Frank Tiger once said, professionalism is knowing how to do it, when to do it, and doing it. We from opposition will keep suggesting and hoping for a better future. With that, I rest my case. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, the first speaker of the opposition team. Now, I would like to call upon the second speaker of the government team to deliver his speech.
Excuse me, am I audible and visible? Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting any time, let me just go immediately towards the rebuttals for side opposition from the first speaker, which is Hani. First of all, he gave a POI, which he said about how the information that my first speaker has stated is not actually specified to medical students, and thus it is not valuable in our case. We tell you that general information is actually very important, and we give this analogy of the mice for test for humanoid. Like, these mice aren't exactly, specified to it's not specified to humans, and yet we still use this in order for us to actually test for our human subjects. And so essentially what we mean by this is it's still valid, and I don't think it's anything that we should be debating about. Next is regarding maintaining a formal wear is the same worldwide. First of all, this is actually false. For example, the US does not adhere to this formal wear in the medical school. Medical school. Moreover, that they produce, and then if you see from the setting right now, is that the US produces plenty of good doctors, and therefore the information is false, and yet it still produces good doctors. Next, she said about how it is worth it for the price and it is cost effective. Under our side, we tell you that this is more cost effective because of the formal wear is actually something that you have to wear during your formal occasions, for example, such as your lectures, right? And yet, under our side, we are already using our own relaxed clothing that we are probably already have without having to buy other clothes, right? So going to the first point, which is professionalism and confidence, right? First of all, it is important for us to tell you that my prime minister has already defined professionalism as something that is can also be exhibited if you are not wearing formal clothes. If you are wearing relaxed clothes, that does not mean that you are not professional. It still means that there is professionalism, but you have to adhere to the location and the setting itself, right? And secondly, you said about how you have to promote, you have to have comfort and trust in the patient. Now, our definition that my Prime Minister has clearly stated is that where we wear the clothes are not with the patient, i.e. the hospital setting, i.e. the clinical setting, but we adhere to the setting towards for our medical school, under the administration of medical school, and thus during our lectures, during our what we learn in face to face with our lecturers, right? So, but let's just go with that, right? Let's just say that okay, you have to comfort and trust with your patient, right? Still, you're saying that the formal attire is the only way for professionalism, and we tell you that what you wear does not actually resemble your skill, and you can actually wear something that you are that you are not formal with, and yet you can still maintain your professionalism. And you say that formal appearance appear more confident, and in fact we believe our side also exhibits confidence because we are actually enabling some people to express their own sense of value, sense of action, right? Okay, sure. Okay.
It seems like confidence. Do you think the patient will, in your opinion, do you think that your patient will be confident if you are wearing surgical clothes when you are diagnosing him? In your opinion, just asking your
First
opinion.
of all, let me just make it clear right now that my Prime Minister has stated in our definition that the professional setting, that the setting where we want to relax this clothing is actually in the administration of our medical school and not in the administration of our hospital setting, because in the administration of our hospital setting, we are not actually just learning, but we are also talking, conversing with your patients, conversing and doing your tasks as a doctor, right? And thus, it is important for you to adhere to the rules of the hospital setting, which means that you have to wear your medical scrubs, you have to wear all of the things that are actually important, that is actually you are told to do, right? So going to my first point, sorry for the long run. First point, which is regarding promoting diversity and freedom of expression, right? 3 layers of argument. Firstly, it deconstructs stereotypes, right? For example, in terms of people that are tied to a culture, right? Because we're not just talking about Malay people here, we're talking about the whole of Malaysia and even students from outer countries, right? So indigenous people that have the tattoos, for example, Dayak people and Kenya people, they have tattoos, but in the current status quo, they have to cover up these tattoos. They are not able to show these tattoos because of the notion of in the current status quo and in the status quo of in the case of side opposition, their notion is that tattoos are unprofessional, right? So under our side, we believe that our appearance does not actually resemble our skills. And this is actually a very important lesson to learn because under our progressive government, this is actually ensured. Second layer of argument is regarding because when you're allowed to showcase your culture and your race, you are ensuring a more diverse community and you're representing your culture. So essentially, this showcases the essence of what being a good doctor is, which is embracing diverse and different people. And lastly, it eases students from other cultures because our formal wear only embraces one type of people, which is our Malaysian type of people. But some cultures, for example, out of Malaysia, aren't comfortable with these kinds of settings. Right? For example, non-Muslims, they much more prefer short sleeves and all of that, right? So in a way, we aren't catering towards these people. And keep in mind, we aren't just talking about cultures in Malaysia, which is mostly Muslim, but also students from other countries as we are talking about the medical school in general, right? Second argument is under ensuring a happier environment that is conducive to study. How does it ensure a happier environment? Because you wear what you're comfortable with and you like what you're actually wearing. So this actually improves your morale and improves your satisfaction level. And because you're not worried with how you look, you're ensuring you look really tidy with formal clothes. And this increases your productivity, making it more conducive to study. Why is this important? Because we tell you that medical students under the status quo right now have it tough and they have a stressful environment, and improving their morale helps in the long way. So how does under their side, this is not possible? Because in ensuring formalities, like the first speaker of side opposite said, it increases the things to worry about that you shouldn't actually be. When to iron, when to wash these clothes, when to brush the collar of your white clothes. Right? And it also, apart from increasing things to worry about, it also promotes mundanity, which is something that isn't present under our side. So ladies and gentlemen, go with side government. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the second speaker of the government team. So for the doctors, the second speaker from the government team is our Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal Hakimi. So they share the same income because of the internet connections, poor internet connections. So next, now I would like to call upon the second speaker of the opposition team to deliver her speech. Ms. Norhana Khalila.
Okay, before I start my speech, I'm having like very bad internet issues right now. Can everyone hear me?
Yes. Yes, if you have like
Can?
bad internet connection, you can you may share with your other groups. But
I think my TV is also having bad internet connection because we're at the
Yeah.
same place. So just if anything, if I don't hear anyone's POI, okay, if anyone's giving if from the government side giving POI, if I don't answer, that may be because I cannot hear you. But so I'm just going to talk. Okay, I'm very sorry if there are problems. Okay.
seriously, now we can hear you.
So, good evening, ladies and gents. Yes, okay. Good evening, ladies and gents, from the government side, opposition side, and also the jury and members of the floor. So, for today's motion, it's about whether we should have a relaxed dress code for medical students or not. That's the basic that we should understand. But us from the opposition side strongly disagree to that motion, and we should stick to having strict formal dress code, even in university settings or even the clinical setting. And the government side wants to strongly reduce the dress code, relaxes dress code in the university setting, because they say things about cost effective and they want to be relaxed, so don't stress study. Something about the second speakers saying that they don't want to stress about ironing and such. So I'm going to start rebutting on that first. So on the second speaker, okay, I'm very sorry because of my internet connection, so I cannot hear the first part of the second speaker. So but for the second part, say something about that it's to like reduce the burden of a medical student, because we won't be stressed about feeling discomfort during study. But I'm going to link with my point later, preparedness for the work life. But the work life later, we're still going to wear professional clothes. So if you are not prepared by now, or by you are not prepared, or you need to iron on time, prepare your clothes on time. If you are not prepared by now, how are you going to face your work life later? Are you expecting that during your work in clinical settings, or maybe when you're working in houseman or medical officer, do you still think that life is going to be easy for you if you want wearing casual from now? So I'm going on to my first point for today, which is preparing for work life. So you know that in clinical setting, we have to wear formal wear. And also when we go off from medical school and later when we go to the hospital has HO or MO, we still have to wear formal wear with all the ties stuck in, and even if you are having lectures anywhere, we have to like wear those clothes 24/7. So why do we have to wear the formal clothes even from now? Because you want to be prepared. You don't want now, okay, if let's say that medical students now in university or during lectures we're wearing like casual clothes, so that means they are used to, let's say, being prepared to go to class like 10 minutes before the class starts, because they can wear the simple clothes, okay, casual clothes that doesn't need preparing. Do you think that if they keep that mindset until the clinical years, until the HO, do you think that they will arrive on work on time? What about their time management? It's something that we need to remember now, because you know that habits die hard. That is the point that we from opposition side believe so much right now, because we need to be prepared from now. And then going on, so I really hope that, I know that it sounds burdensome by now, but later in the future, this is not going to be a burden for you all, because this is what we are facing every day, and later we're going to face this every day. So preparation. And I'm going on my second point, which is standardization for unity. So we know that every medical students wear the same kind of clothes, which is like the government have said for guys like tie, leather shoes, tuck-in clothes, and for ladies we can wear the baju kebaya and formal like blouse and slacks. So that means that everyone we wear the same kind of outfit. So this will throw away any problems regarding to misogyny and also maybe racism or also social economic problems. Okay, how is that related to the standardization? So let's go. So let's go to my essential. Okay. SPOI. Ain is it? Sabrina.
Equal.
Okay.
Yeah. How does actually, when you say standardization, how does it actually promote towards racial injustice, which what you said just now?
I'm going to explain. Please hear my explanation a bit more. I was going to explain. Thank you. So, but everyone is wearing the same thing. So let's start with wearing the same thing. Okay. So everyone wears the same thing. So there will be no problem in one wearing very rich clothing and one wearing very like poor like clothing. So you know like there's this thing called stigma. When as an example that we're rich and we see poor people buy their clothing. So like some people have like the mindset to not go close to poor people because it's their mindset. But when medical students have like the same type of clothing, so we think that everyone has the same. I'm sorry. Okay, everyone has the same status and will be friends together. So that is eliminating any problematic social economy and also misogyny. We know that every women is wearing pants and also a blouse. So there will not be any words of like maybe some people saying that people are wearing skirts, things like that, because I know this it may not happen in nowadays, but you know some people actually does say that can relate anything regarding misogyny and also racism. You know, let's say example, like if we use casual clothes, you know, like some races they have like their own outfit, right? So sometimes their own outfit and their own style will sometimes be looked down upon. So when we're wearing the same type of clothes, this will actually like prevent all sorts of problem regarding wearing of clothes because we are wearing the same code of clothes, the same coding for clothes. And I've said everything on my points, and I know that my points are very strong, and this can my points. Sorry. So like I know that based on my points that this can show that we strongly disagree to the motion today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, the second speaker of the opposition team. Now I would like to call upon the third speaker of the government team to deliver his speech.
Hello, am I audible and clear?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So, Assalamualaikum and good evening to respected chairperson, our honorable members of adjudicators, accurate timekeeper, worthy opposition, and reassuring members of government. We, the government team, firmly believe that relaxing the dress code for medical students brings more benefit as explained by my first and second speaker. I would like to start my rebuttal for the first speaker's point, for his second point actually, but yeah, so the first speaker actually attempted to convince our audience that being formal is equivalent with being confident, but that is very much incorrect because because on our side we are saying that when students are in more comfortable clothes, they are more confident because they don't need to worry about their appearance, especially if they are not accustomed to it. For example, if you are not used to wearing, for example, if like your comfortable clothes is sweater, for example, and then you are asked to wear shirts and necktie the whole day it is going to make them feel uncomfortable. And as we say over and over again, we are not touching about clinical setting. We are saying that we are relaxing in academic aspect, which is under the control of the university. So if you are going to clinical setting, yeah, you need to follow, because we are not saying that we are abolishing dress codes. No, we are not saying that at all. What we are saying is that we are making it more flexible, more relaxed, and more practical in a sense, because it is very much not practical for you to wear neckties, slacks, tuck-in shirts just to go to class when you can wear sweatshirts and maybe like a black jeans to class and still very much appropriate and respect your, and also it is very much respecting your lecturers because you are not wearing anything that is against it. Like you are not wearing shorts. We are not promoting shorts or ripped jeans. We are just saying that making it more flexible. Next, his next point was professionalism. Like I said, we are maintaining the formal attire for clinical setting and formal attires doesn't actually relate to, confidence, and also professionalism can still be maintained. And clinical setting is where you learn to be professional with your patients and stuff. And we are saying that we don't want to change anything about it because we agree with that part. What we are not agreeing is that the attire that you are wearing for classes, even for example, your third speaker, as you can see, this is a formal situation, but he's not wearing any formal attire. So I'm very much agreeing that I know that he's agreeing with us. That is why he's wearing informal attire for a formal situation. So I know that he will be very much happy. Even he is laughing right now. He will be very much happy if we make it more flexible, as you can see. So the second speaker of the opposition team tried to persuade the audience that saying that preparedness for work life. Like I said, we are not changing anything about clinical setting. That is for work life. So we are actually balancing it. We are giving some flexibility in our system. We are not saying that we are abolishing the dress codes. So, and also it's kind of funny, and like I believe action speaks louder than words, because our second speaker from the opposition team mentioned about standardization actually eliminates misogyny, and also judgment. But she just did judge people by saying that people don't want to go close with poor people. Isn't that being judgmental? And we are always taught that we are not supposed to judge people by its cover, like what we always say, like never judge someone by the way they look, or a book by the way it's covered. For inside those tattered pages, there are a lot more to be discovered. Yeah, yes, please. Go ahead.
I was saying about that I was judging people. I'm just saying, do you think that we can stop everyone from judging?
But is it by making it more flexible stops people from judging? Does it? No, right. So yeah, keep your point for yourself. Next is to be many researchers actually proven that being standardization is actually more misogynistic, because you are, like you said, people wearing skirts being judged. We are going towards not stereotyping people, but what you just did just now is stereotyping people. But you are promoting it somehow. So we are 21st century. We try to not tag people and not stereotype anything. So you just promoted something very wrong by stating that, and help us to build our case. So ladies and gentlemen, throughout the course of this debate, we have proven and demonstrated over and over by loosening the dress code for medical students is very much beneficial in many aspects. My first speaker said changing a little in the dress code can actually be more practical without compromising the appropriateness. On top of that, it is clear that current dress code is lacking in the sense of diversity and promotes stereotyping, like being mentioned by the second speaker of the opposition team. Our last point for today was relaxing the dress code for medical students actually creates a more conducive studying condition and promotes productivity. So educators, audience, and fellow debaters, I hope and I believe that you can see clearer facts a little in the dress code for medical students goes a long way. Never judge someone by the way they dress. Thank you. With that, I rest my case.
Thank you, the third speaker of the government team. Before I would like to, I will call upon the third speaker of the opposition team. Third speaker of the opposition team, can you hear me? Can you hear the point that the third speaker of the government team said just now?
Yes.
Yes. Your internet connection good?
I think for now it should be good. I think it should be stable by now.
All right. Okay. So now let's call upon the third speaker of the opposition team to deliver his speech. This one is Mr. Ahmadinho.
Okay, thank you, Amira Mazida. Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good evening. So today, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The motion for tonight's debate is that this House believe that the dress code for medical students should be relaxed. So us, the opposition side, we strongly disagree with this motion because we think that the dress code for medical students should be maintained. Why? let's just hear my points first. But before I further fortify my previous speakers, my first and second speakers' point mentioned before, I would like to first rebut the points given by the first speaker. The first speaker mentioned about by relaxing the dress code for medical students would be cost effective. But however, this have been proven by my second speaker, where she mentioned that the dress code should be maintained because it eliminates the socio-economical conflict between students. Why? Because when you are relaxing the dress code for students, it means that they are free to choose whatever they want to wear. Where in reality, where we can see in campus, even in our campus, Sungai Buloh, we can see the different people coming from different economical backgrounds, and some people are not all people are born on a silver platter, right? And when we have this economical gap between each other, by standardizing on what we are supposed to wear, it eliminates this gap indirectly. Do you understand? So it's proven by my second speaker where she mentioned about by maintaining the dress code eliminates the economical gap and also proven to be cost effective, which contradicts with the points given by the first speaker from the government side. And then moving on to the second speaker, he mentioned about he tried to fortify the statistic given by the first speaker where she mentioned about general information about 80% of the respondent disagree with the dress code and that they feel uncomfortable. Well, let me just cite research made by Alice Kalish. The title is "The Scientific Reason Why Dressing for Success Works for Medical Students." In 2022, dress codes enforce decorum and a serious professional atmosphere conducive to success. This research shows that the quality of work improves when performed by individuals who dress out formally. One study found that the participants who wore formal attire scored higher on cognitive tests with specific increase in abstract thinking. And also a plus if the participant who wore a white lab coat or who were told to wear a doctor's coat made 50% fewer mistakes. So from this statistics, it just proves that by maintaining this mentioned by the government side uncomfortable dress code, it somehow provide a conducive environment for this medical student to strive for success, because it's just proved by statistics that I've given to you just now. And also mentioned by the third speaker, dressing formally does not promote confidence. Well, based on the statistics I've just given, is basically boost your morale and also your performance. And she also mentioned that don't judge a book by its cover. Well, let me just say that yes, it's true. Don't judge a book by its cover. But however, first impression also plays a vital role in determining how you react with other people. So when you are relaxing the dress code, where you have people dressing like wearing sweaters and stuff, going inside the campus, especially let's take an example in context in our campus, Sungai Buloh, where in the campus we have the hospitals and such. What will the patient feel that whenever they come to the hospital and see that, oh, is this a medical student just wearing like sweater and stuff? Would that be acceptable? Because we're talking about context. We're not talking about regular students. We're talking about medical students, the people that will be responsible in handling other people's lives, the people where the society will have them to the highest position in the society. Would that be acceptable? Because wearing formal clothes for us medical students is not just a piece of clothing. It also symbolizes cleanliness, professionalism, ethics. So this is important, where it is important why you should maintain this dress code at a early stage, especially us in the preclinical phase, as a preparation for us to transition from the preclinical phase to the clinical phase. Because eventually in the clinical phase, you will need to work in the environment, in the busy environment in the hospital, wearing these formal clothes. So for me, I think that wearing maintaining the dress code provides much more benefits than relaxing, as opposed to the government side, because they mentioned about being comfortable, being productivity, claiming that being comfortable promotes productivity, while in reality it is the other way around. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, the third speaker of the opposition team. So as the debate is reaching its end, I would like to allocate 2 minutes for the first and second speaker from both teams to prepare their reply speech. Before that, excuse me to all the juries, attention to all the juries. For your information, the internet connection for the opposition team was not good just now, so they didn't hear some point from the government team. So please take this into account when giving marks for the opposition team. Thank you. Okay. All right. So the first and or second speaker from the opposition team, please present your reply speech.
Okay, so I'm going to give the reply speech. Good evening, ladies and gents, from members of the floor, from government, side government, side opposition, jury. So our motion for today, I would say it's a no-brainer to trust us, the opposition side, to disagree on relaxing the dress code for American students, because we have given very strong points. 3 points we gave: the value of professionalism, practicing confidence, preparing for work life, and standardization for unity. So why are our points like very strong? We have said many times. We have um said many times on, like, being a medical student. It is a symbol of professionalism, because people will trust their life to us. So we need to show them that we can be trusted. So we start from first wearing formal clothes. It's easy, just wearing the formal clothes. And we have said many times about it's about the preparation for work life. The thing about side government is they're only focusing on the preclinical. They think that they want to be relaxed now. But in the future, we're going to suffer anyways. So why don't we prepare from now? So we will have less mental burden in the future. That is what we from side opposition. I'm sorry, side opposition has been saying gazillions of time, because in the end of the day, we we future doctors uh needs to have the confidence, and also the patients the confidence in us, and that can be easily get from like the first impression, like my speaker said, the first impression, wearing formal clothes. Okay, and also, even though like the side opposition government have said something about professionalism is not about the clothing, but in the end, people will see your clothing first and say, oh, this doctor can be trusted. This student is actually a medical student, not someone, a medical student wearing relaxed, casual, round neck tee clothes. Maybe we will trust them less, even though maybe that they are good students. So please trust us and always oppose. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, the government team.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the hall, there are a few problems that I would like to highlight in my reply speech today. Firstly, and the most significant problem under side opposition is that they failed to adhere to our definition. Their point is regarding, all three of their points is regarding if our definition encompasses the clinical setting. And this is detrimental because we have clearly mentioned to you that we understand that yes, in a clinical setting, in a hospital setting, you are not just learning lectures and all of that, right? You are conversing with patients, and therefore you have to adhere with the strict rules of the hospital settings. And we tell you that this is important because our side, we tell you that if you are able to relax your clothes and for in the preclinical setting, in the lectures and all of that, then you are actually able to get plenty of benefits. Secondly, is our point for Prime Minister is regarding the ease of function. We talk about the how by not making formal clothes a priority, or not making formal clothes something that is mandatory, we are able to ease the function of the medical students in becoming a good doctor. And it's not just about cost effective. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, is they talk about symbolism for professionalism. Again, we tell you that in a professional setting, yes, wear good clothes, wear tidy clothes, wear your scrubs, wear everything that you are supposed to wear. But in the medical school, do you have to look formal? And does like relaxed clothing not exhibit professionalism? We tell you that this is not the case, in fact. Fourthly, they talk about how it gives confidence to the patients, right? We hardly disagree with this statement because of the simple syndrome of white coat syndrome. This is just one example where if you are become intimidated with your white coat, and thus it does not actually help in terms of giving confidence to the patients here. Under our side, we are helping them to converse. If we are using the definition in which we are using like in the clinical setting also, then we are still helping them. Under side government, we are a very holistic side because we cater to not just to the students' welfare in terms of how they are supposed to learn, and we are empathetic in the way that they are currently learning right now, and we embrace the various communities that I have mentioned in my points just now. And at the end of the day, that resembles the good way of becoming a doctor. Ladies and gentlemen, go with side government. Thank you very much.
Thank you for all the debaters. Now we will give some time for our educators to carefully give marks and discuss who is the winner of today's debate, as well as deciding the best speaker. The jury will judge the debate only based on the points argued by the speakers and not their personal opinion of the motions. So the juries will now enter breakout room to have a moment among themselves. Okay, so since all the doctors are back, so now we would like to ask the jury to comment on the debate that happened today. So we start with Dr. Nur Alima. Can you comment on the debate that had happened today, Doctor?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Putri, and everyone who are joining us today. I would like to first congratulate both of the teams for putting up a very enlightened, I would say, enlightened session for us. Okay. I am just giving some of my opinion. Sorry, my camera is not working. Okay, so I'm just putting up some of my opinion on the how you guys.
Okay. Tadi your voice macam slow sikit.
Oh, okay. So how you did today? So first of all, I would say from us the judges, we think we would like to see actually more enthusiasm from both sides lah, in terms of fighting on your motions. I think that is something that is a little bit lacking. Even though I saw that some of you do try your best to rebut your oppositions as well as put forth your motion. Okay, but we have experienced before that we see some, I think, more enthusiastic speakers or students that sometimes they are very strongly believe with their motions, and some that are lacking a little bit here. Okay, but I would say that most of you did well. I would say that it is still in an interesting session for us to see how you guys think on how to promote your motion and rebut the opposition. Okay. We don't have much difference of opinion in giving out who are the best teams and who are the best speakers, because I think it is quite straightforward. I think all the audience can also see that as well, which would later be announced. I think in the main issue that we see in this debate is that the government team is focusing on the preclinical, the dressing code during preclinical years more, whereas on the opposition teams, they did mention on the preclinical years, but they are focusing more on what would the future be like. So there is a difference of opinion on that matter. Okay, so that I think would be a little bit hard for us to compare, because the ground is not similar. You don't have the similar ground on that. I think that's all from me. I'll give the others to talk. Dr. Jamal have many other things maybe to comment on.
Thank you so much for your comment, Doctor. How about Dr. Jamal? May you please comment?
Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to both the teams. As usual, honored and happy to be part of this debates, competitions. I really enjoy every time there's a call for it, I jump to do this. Really happy to do this, to be part of this event. It's indeed, again, I should say congratulations to both of you to take part to these things in this, and it's a event that we always look forward to. Now, on the event that we see today, usually when we see these things now, it's a couple of years we're doing it online, but previous years and things like when we see it face to face, we see more sparks, most things like, a lot of things happening, and some of the team really believe, and they're really selling it, that the motion they're talking about or the opposition, they really go out for it. A little bit that was missing for us today. That argument, that the things that goes towards, each talking about it with enthusiasm, the things a little bit was not there. I wish to see them more of that. But nevertheless, it was a good ground, good argument. Things were going on again, like Dr. Alima mentioned. A little bit of a difference in the discussion was there, and so that's why we were like okay, the different arguments are going with both the teams, even though the things were touched on there. But overall, I enjoyed the event. It was nice. It was enjoyable. It was fantastic. Good points were made. And yeah, it's nice one. We're looking forward to the rest of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jamal. And lastly, Dr. Damayanti.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I echo what Dr. Alima and Dr. Jamal said. Firstly, thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you all once again. This is definitely an enjoyable event, particularly when students are out of the classroom. We really enjoy seeing your different side of yours. So I would like to say well done to all the speakers. It's not easy trying to arrange your points within a very short amount of time, and at the same time trying to think of the most convincing way. Only thing is, I also agree with what they were saying. The oomph was lacking this year. I don't know whether perhaps it was the understanding of the actual topic at hand, or whether not enough time, or when you want to sell something, you need to convince us by believing it yourself. And then when you really believe, that will show through the words that you're speaking. So we didn't quite find that this year. That was one thing that maybe you can take with you for improvement for the next time. The other thing was, perhaps this also comes back to the organizers. Whenever there is a motion, it needs to be something where both parties are actually understanding or on the same page. So they might have to be a level playing field when we want to argue something. So if this is like a sort of like a mismatch, then we don't get the full benefit of the argument. So that was another thing that perhaps can be taken into consideration. And lastly, I think when we debate, although we want to be firm and show, a very convincing way when we speak, we must also be mindful that we don't come across as argumentative. If we do that, then it's sort of it's more like a fist fight rather than convincing somebody in an intellectual manner. Yeah, so let's preserve the sanctity of a debate by doing that, treating it as a very professional way of exchange of ideas rather than picking a fight sort of thing. So that's another comment just in general. But well done, everybody. Good luck for the rest of your journey, and thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Damayanti. Okay, so now the results are in my hands, right? So the winner of this debate today, coming from Saturn team. Saturn team. Congratulations, Saturn team. All right, so the best speaker chosen by the juries is Muhammad Iqbal Hakimi bin Lukman from Mars team. Congratulations, Iqbal Hakimi. Okay. All right. Okay, so before we end this round, so let's all have a photography session, including the juries and the participants. So all participants, please turn on, and juries, please turn on your cameras. All right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, other one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you for your cooperation. So finally, it is the end of today's round. Thank you all for the amazing debate today, and thank you to the juries who are willing to spend their time this evening. So I hope you all have a great evening ahead, and you may leave this Microsoft team now. Thank you, everyone. Good job. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck.
Bye. All the best.